we're not going to do what we need to do
Tell us
to
the reason
solve
for being
the
there.
problem.
Tell us the reason for being there, right?
Originally?
No, sir.
Well, originally we got rid of Saddam.
This is 2006.
Who was the bad guy?
This is 2006. Tell us, and I really want to hear the answer.
The answer
Why
is,
are we there right now?
Well, to ensure that Iraq doesn't become a terrorist state tied in with Iran.
Okay, let's talk about what the criteria are for a terrorist state. They're twofold. First, a country that can control its borders. If it cannot, it's going to let anybody in. Secondly, a country that can actually care for its citizenry. That means provide basic food, water, services. Those two criteria are not met in Iraq. Therefore, Iraq has indeed become what the Bush administration, by those two criteria, which are President Bush's criteria, has become a breeding ground for terror. You know as well as I do that Iran is using the presence of the United States, the very presence of the United States, as a rallying force for more terrorists coming into that country. Our presence is destabilizing
but you're a centrist,
Iraq.
Barbara. You're a centrist candidate, is what I understand. And Gary is not challenging the fact that we're spending $8 billion a month. Surely a Democrat can tell us something more about what we should be doing with that money rather than down that hole in that country.
I've traveled the state 525 trips, and I'll tell you, Democrats, Republicans, and independents alike feel that the government's wasting our tax dollars. They're not limiting it to what's happening overseas. It's the waste of our dollars that would allow us to reallocate them vital items going on right now. Let me give you the first one. Veterans Affairs.
Okay, I understand.
Veterans Affairs. Underfunded. We have returning Afghani and Iraqi veterans. They are not receiving the care that they were told they would get when they returned.
Well,
there are massive underfundings of VA services right now. Yet at the same time, we could be saving money if we gave these men and women preventive care. So long term, we would save not just hundreds of thousands of lives and make them better. They'd be able to get back into society. They'd be economically productive. But you know what else? We'd save billions of dollars.
Well,
we'd save billions of dollars.
David wants to cut out of Iran, Iraq, whatever he wants to call it.
Iran,
$8 billion a year.
Surely you don't mean Iran.
Well, Iran is another issue.
I think that's a Freudian slip.
We need to take care of Iraq.
He'd go there next.
I think we need to deal with Iraq. But you want to take that money that we save from ending the war in Iraq and spend it. So I guess you're not concerned about the deficit that we now have in Washington.
I can't begin to tell you how wrong you are, dear. The absolute need we have now in the United States is for pay-as-you-go. It is the Republican leadership, not the rank and file. The Republican leadership is the most liberal spending set of folks that you've ever met in your life.
I resent that word attached to those people.
The liberals are running things.
The liberal spenders are. Now, and when I talk about conservative spending, perhaps it makes me a horse of a different color. But I can tell you that that's what we need to do. That's absolutely what we need to do. We should not be overspending and wasting money. And the waste is where we can really cut back. We need to completely end the system of earmarks.
So you're for ending earmarks. Get rid of them. Flush them.
Absolutely.
Goodbye.
There's two reasons. Did you know who suffers the most from earmarks in the whole United States? Who's the bottom of the barrel in getting earmark spending? Yes.
Probably Texas.
There you go.
Well, especially since we lost delay, right?
No, especially because a lot of our Republican congressmen don't want them.
Oh. Even before delay, at the time that our senior senator was my opponent and still is, under her watch, and she claims to be a Republican leader, keep that in mind, under her watch, Texas ranks 51st in largesse brought here. They can't be used effectively by our senior senator. Absolutely can't. And they cost us a fortune because it falls disproportionately on the Texas taxpayers' shoulders. Where do you think we rank in transportation spending?
I'm not getting
49.
But a lot better than we were before because the reimbursement rate for Texas has gone up from what it was.
Let's talk about the reimbursement rate. This is a key issue for people who want to buy gas. Lots of people want to buy gas. Almost 10 cents on every dollar of our gas tax dollars from Texas is donated to other states.
I understand.
The money changed from the 77 cents per dollar to almost 90 cents per dollar under Phil Gramm. It was Phil Gramm who fought and won that battle for us. Since the time of Phil Gramm, we've made little, if any, progress. And do you know who voted for the transportation bill last year after saying she wouldn't? She voted for a bill that actually gave away our tax dollars on that kind of criteria. You know where it placed Texas, you think we've improved. Let me tell you where Texas ranks in transportation dollars.
Well, 1 point.
49.
Okay, 1 point.
49.
Do you support abolishing the federal gas tax and letting the states do their own thing on gas taxes?
If we cannot get our fair share in Texas, yes.
Well,
but
I think the answer is we haven't. For all the years we had Democratic senators and we had Republican senators that never made a difference. So you're taking the
No,
support.
I'm here to tell you
So
that is a complete mistake.
No, but
Phil Gramm made a huge difference.
But we're still jobbed out of 10%.
But do you know why? Do you know why?
Because
Phil
other
Gramm
states
moved
vote against us. That's why.
Because Phil Gramm was able to put together a bipartisan effort with Senator Byrd, a Democrat. Phil Gramm and Robert Byrd were able to push through on a bipartisan level a 23-cent increase. 23%. Since the time of Phil Gramm and Byrd, we have had an ineffective leader of the Texas Senate.
But aren't you dodging?
Of the system.
Barbara, aren't you dodging? I'm not saying you haven't been given a chance for this, but aren't you dodging in terms of these priorities of spending and taxing, if you will, should you take this seat, the big issues of entitlements and how we would reform them, or is it your position that we need just go along, get along from now on?
No. With all due respect, you've seen my issues chart. It has more footnotes than a church organ. You've seen the lists of where I think the priorities should be. My opponent has voted to cut Head Start, education programs, college loans, which are repaid with more. Shoot, a college loan's repaid with more.
And I guess you would be in opposition to Kay Bailey Hutchison's vote to eliminate the estate tax.
She didn't vote to eliminate the estate tax. What she did was vote that the top tiny percent of people in this country who have estates worth more than $10 million get the break of the estate tax. The people who need the break...
Well, that virtually eliminated it. It added